What does it mean to market responsibly to women?
Well, as marketers, we are responsible for what is out in the universe that is informing people's perception of what success looks like and what beauty is and all of these things. So advertisers and marketers, we believe, have a responsibility to be cognizant of the messages that they're putting out there and saying, like, are we making society better with what we're putting out there? Are we, there's a lot of talk around, celebrating and embracing diversity and celebrating women and all of this stuff. But the truth is that, like, it has to be authentic through and through, and you can do that in a meaningful way. You can have impact on that just in the content that you create. And the more people realize that, I think the faster things will happen.
What do you think some of the challenges are? Because in many ways we see women in the household as being the primary purchasers of products in the household. And yet maybe these companies don't want to portray women as, being at home and being kind of that homemaker. So how do you balance the fact that today's modern woman is different from a woman we may have seen in the 1950s?
Totally. I mean, for a long time, the schools of advertising were like, get at their insecurities, play at their emotions. There were these old Listerine ads that said, always a bridesmaid, never a bride, but no one will tell her about her bad breath. Like, this
terrible.
Right. So, for a long time, the schools of thought in advertising and marketing, what are their deepest, darkest fears and emotions? And we look at that too, but it's like, how can we make that better? Like, how can we, so you can't pander to insecurities if you're a beauty brand. You have to really have an empathic connection with your customer and understand that, yes, women make 90% of household purchases. And then, in our opinion, then like 90% of the marketers behind CPG goods should be women.
It's a very good point. And I think it's also interesting, too, when we think about what we're seeing in marketing today, where they're trying to portray women as being more powerful and, like you said, more authentic. So at your organization, how do you ensure that women are portrayed in that light?
We rely on a lot of co-creation with our clients' customers. Market research has been around since the dawn, but you can make data to match any prognosis that you have, or like if you have a goal in mind, you can find data to support that, or you can like really look into data and chop it up in a way with an empathic connection to your consumer and really think about, how can we change their lives, even if it's through this, the vessel of this product. We talk a lot about women who vote with their dollars, and that's really who we're marketing to and who our clients are marketing to. And the whole idea of marketing even doesn't have to be this like icky thing. It can be, Marie Forleo says this best. She says, if you have a product that will literally that you can make people's lives better with it, it is your responsibility to effectively market to them, So you can't see it as this like icky thing. And so when we talk about marketing responsibly to women and how we see that as our responsibility, because we're putting content out in the world, and we want lots of people to see it because we want to engage them and we want them to become our audience, right? So we have a responsibility to know what we're putting out there and what the effect will be of it.
One really interesting thing that I read about you, and this all ties back to this idea of moving the dial, is whether you're a female founder or you're an executive at a business, the reality is today we're all trying to do so many different things, and time is the enemy in some ways. How do you help people figure out how to make the most of their time, and how do you do it personally?
Definitely. Time is the only non-renewable resource, and we have to be aware, mindful, cognizant of how we spend our time, or else it'll just go away, right? And so, yeah, whether you're a busy executive and you are also a mother, but you're tied to a 9-to-5 schedule, or if you're an entrepreneur and you have a flexible schedule, it's still like you have to own your time. And so I take a lot of pride in like creating time blocks for myself and making lists of what are my top priorities and goals this week, and how can I align everything I do with that. And sometimes that means, nicely declining an in-person coffee thing and instead doing a 15-minute call. It's hard to say no when you're also a really curious, multi-passionate entrepreneur, right? Because it's like, well, this could be interesting. And, I always say I'm either earning, learning, networking or like increasing, like filling my tank with like happiness, joy, or, you know, relaxation and those kinds of things. So it's like, how do you divide all the things that you do like that? And it's like every woman today feels time poor, you know, like I'm incredibly interested in this, but I'm time poor. Like that's something that I often say, and it's not even a phrase I want to perpetuate. But, you know, you have to be cognizant of how you spend your time. Your time is your superpower, right? It's like how you allot your own personal resources. And so you have to figure out what are your values, priorities, and goals, and proactively block out your calendar for those, because we know that the urgent things, the fires that are in front of us, are things that get taken care of right away. And then it's, oh, I've been meaning to organize this for 5 years, or, you know I could take my business to the next level if I could just have like a week to focus on X, Y, and Z. So, you know, take a week and go into the woods, or you know, decide that the first Monday of every month you're going to have a 2-hour block that you work on those things for. Because when you're working for yourself, or frankly even when you're not, like no one's going to advocate for your time like you will. And the people whose time is the most respected are the people who respect their time too.